Rolling.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Yes, I'm here. I exist on YouTube. The alien has returned to planet Earth. Whatever, we get it. So I decided I wanted to start a little series. I wanted to look back in history and see what films premiered on what dates, maybe 100 years ago, maybe less than that, and then talk about them and do a little analysis about them. So on November 9th, 1939, the film Ninotchka premiered. It starred the Swedish actress goddess of the day, Greta Garbo. So when she transitioned from sound films to talkie films, it was advertised as Garbo Talks, but this was the very first film where she did a comic role, because she had done all these very serious, very dramatic roles. She's a fantastic actress, very ahead of her time stylistically. But this was the first time that she laughed, so it was advertised as Garbo Laughs. It's basically about American and Russian, basically communism versus capitalism, tension at the time. It was right on the cusp of World War II. It was in 1939. There were two different Russias in Hollywood. There was Russia before 1941, where Hollywood would kind of make some jabs at Russia, sometimes in their films like in Ninotchka, and there was Russia after 1941 when they started working together to defeat the Nazis in World War II, in which case the Russians were shown in a much better light in Hollywood films. So the basic premise of this film, 3 Russian comrades are sent by the Russian government to go to Paris with this box of jewels that this ex-duchess of Russia used to own, and they want to sell these jewels to get money for their people, and they get seduced by the capitalist lifestyle. The Russian government goes, how dare you not give us our money for our people? So they send Ninotchka, who's this very masculine appearing woman who's very straight to the point, very military, very regimental-like, to come and rescue this mission and sell these diamonds. She ends up getting seduced by Leon, who is played by the past it, in my opinion, Melvin Douglas, who's not nearly as handsome to play against Greta Garbo. It's fine, you should still watch it. He's this like French playboy that works for the Duchess, but they end up falling in love. And it's really beautiful to see her kind of be seduced and embrace being a woman, and it's a really, really wonderful film. Ninotchka kind of revived Garbo's career because she was labeled box office poison for a few years. She was nominated for an Oscar, but she lost out to Vivien Leigh for Gone with the Wind because Gone with the Wind took everything, let's be real. Like, nobody stood a chance that year. When Ninotchka arrives in the train station, she's already associated with masculinity because these 3 Soviet men, who I think are called like Ivanov, Bulganov, and something else. Anyways, they expect a man. They expect the government to have sent a Soviet man. But then they get a woman. She arrives, she's very icy cold.
What a charming idea for Moscow to surprise us with a lady, comrade.
If we had known, we would have greeted you with flowers.
Don't make an issue of my womanhood. We're here for work, all of us.
Her gradual transformation from masculine to feminine identity is linked with the discovery of romance through consumption. The central weakness of capitalism that we joke about in the film is that there's consumerism everywhere in Paris, and there's all these fancy clothes, and you can eat all this fancy food. And Ninotchka comes from a very kind of starved communist era Russia where they were given like 1 egg a day. Ninotchka and her comrades kind of have this border crossing from east in Russia to the west associated with seduction. So Ninotchka is kind of seduced by Melvin Douglas's character Leon, and her comrades are kind of seduced by this high-class lifestyle that capitalism offers. Ninotchka arrives in Paris. She isn't having this lifestyle. She thinks all these like women's fashions of the latest hat or this fancy hotel room she's given are not very interesting. She looks at the city of Paris and she says,
I do not deny its beauty, but it's a waste of electricity.
So obviously she's just not very interested in beauty and external things. However, I have resources, I got papers, and as Jennifer Fay puts in her paper that I will give the title to down below, she says that the sensate body deprived under communism is naturally drawn back to capitalistic abundance. And we soon see Ninotchka begin to soften and start to fall in love with Leon. There's a scene where Ninotchka goes back to Leon's apartment for the first time. And something that I thought was probably, maybe I'm overanalyzing, but I thought it was important, is that he takes off and unbuttons her jacket and takes off this very conservative looking hat that she's wearing. And I think that's kind of the first step of him like helping her shed that initial layer that she wore, coming from like a very like communist, like conservative background.
Ninotchka, you like me just a little bit?
Your general appearance is not distasteful.
Thank you.
The whites of your eyes are clear. Your cornea is excellent.
Your cornea is terrific.
We can start to see here a lot of Lubitsch-esque humor. Ernest Lubitsch was the director. He did all these fantastic pre-code musical comedies and just comedies in general. The code was something that censored a lot of films back in the day before 1933-ish. Before that, movies were very scandalous, and there were no rules about what you could or could not show. He has a lot of very cheeky humor. He's known for the Lubitsch touch, which is basically a lot of sexual innuendo and other like little cheeky jokes, and also teasing the audience and showing you things or not showing you things. There are a couple very Lubitsch moments in this film. One is when the cigarette girls go in and out of the room and you hear this uproarious laughter each time they come in. Lubitsch loves to not show the audience things, or maybe you only hear it like you did in that last scene, but you don't get to see what's happening. And that was kind of a very Lubitsch touch, a very Lubitchian move. A couple Lubitsch lines are the...
There you are, and here am I. Feel it?
I'm interested only in the shortest distance between these 2 points. Must you flirt?
Well, I don't have to, but I find it natural.
Suppress it.
I'll try.
I was sent here by my country to fight you.
All right, fight me. Fight me as much as you want. Only fight me tomorrow morning. There's nothing sweeter than sharing a secret with an enemy.
The main thing that I loved that felt very Ernest Lubitsch was when Ninotchka receives a letter when she's back in communist Russia from her lover Leon. The only thing she gets to see are Dear Ninotchka, and then the whole letter is censored and blacked out until the very end when he writes, yours, Leon. This could have been a slight jab to Lubitsch because a lot of things that he wanted to show and do in film, he couldn't do anymore after the production code came and was enforced. Another scene that I think was really great is when Leon follows Ninotchka to when she's having lunch at this like workman's place, and he's really trying to get her to laugh. And it's this first big clip of Garbo laughing, and it's a really fantastic scene.
If you can't think of anything else to laugh at, you can laugh at you and me.
Why?
Because we're an odd couple.
Then you should go back to your table.
No. No, I can't leave you. I won't, not yet. Not until I've made you laugh at least once.
Ha ha. Now go back to your table.
Else laughs at it, but not you.
Following the lunch scene, we see Ninotchka meeting with all these government officials trying to talk about the diamond negotiations. And once the officials left and she's there with her 3 comrades, she changes the subject and talks about, oh, you need a haircut, and like very like out of character things for her. And then she goes and she opens the window, which is a beautiful scene.
I always felt a little hurt when our swallows deserted us in the winter for capitalistic countries. Now I know why. We have the high ideal, but they have the climate.
And we really kind of see her opening herself up to absorbing the beauty and kind of the capitalist world that's around her for the first time. There's just a lot of little things that we finally get to see Ninotchka becoming this sort of full embodied character, this beautiful and amazing woman who's enjoying life and being in love. In a later scene when she's over at Leon's apartment again, he asks, do you want to put on the radio? And she says no.
Let's have music that's just for ourselves.
Because she's so used to sharing everything in this kind of communist community.
I'll play it very softly, because I've things to tell you about which I can't shout.
She starts dressing up, wearing the latest fashions, putting on red lipstick, a classic capitalist American woman thing to do. And even her speech when she's talking to Leon becomes much more relaxed and tender and intimate. And there's a specific line that I wanted to talk about when she sees a picture of the Duchess Swanna that Leon had kept because he used to kind of be involved with her. And she tells him,
Don't ever ask me for a picture of myself. I couldn't bear the thought of being shut up in a drawer. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't stand it.
Oh, my darling.
And this clip reveals that she doesn't want to be trapped anymore in all these rules and regiments that the communist era or like place that she had come from had enclosed her in. She wants to be free. She wants to be able to do whatever she wants, which is kind of what Paris and America is like associated with. The last parts that really show her full transformation into this alive, living in capitalism and loving and consumeristic woman, not saying that's a bad thing, but that she's just enjoying her life more, honestly, is when she's with Leon and she's drunk and then she says,
Let's form our own party.
Right. Lovers of the world unite.
And we won't stretch up our arms.
No, no, no.
We won't clench our fists.
No, no.
Our salute will be a kiss.
Yes.
The scene is kind of a satirical look at communism and the parties that they had and things like that. Finally, she says, oh, I feel bad. She's still drunk. She says, I feel bad. I need punishment. So she says, I'm going to stand at the wall.
When I kissed you, I betrayed a Russian ideal. I should be stood up against the wall. I've paid the penalty. Now let's have some music.
This is kind of a mock execution of her past self. And after that, she becomes this new woman. And we finally see this new person come up from this execution and be reborn. Here's the shooting draft that I got of this script. And it's been really interesting going through it and also comparing what they cut out of the film and what they added in while shooting. There's a lot of politics behind this film that I don't have enough intelligence to discuss. The only things that I will say at the end of this film with Ninotchka and the purpose it had to show to audiences at the time is that it was less that she was converted from communism to capitalism than just restored to her senses of enjoying kind of capitalism in Paris, or as an American audience we see it, capitalism in America. Anyways, it's a fantastic film. I highly suggest you check it out. Subscribe if you want. I really don't mind. Either way, I'm making these videos to ramble about movies because I have no one to ramble to. And if you want to follow me on Instagram and see more pictures of dead people, it's at Ann Makasinski. In the meantime, I hope you watch a movie every day and don't go out and socialize, because why would you do that? Sorry. Okay, bye.
You know how it is today. All you have to do is wear a pair of silk stockings and they suspect you of counter-revolution.
Thank you, Anna. I'll dry it up here when I wash it next. I should hate to see our country endangered by my underwear.